Joining me now is Jon Bey. He's the chairman and CEO of Standard Uranium, and Sean Hillacre, VP of Exploration. Thanks for coming in, gentlemen.
Well, thank you very much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be nice to talk to both of you. And Jon, you and I talked, let's call it 6 weeks ago, a month ago or so. So let's advance the Standard Uranium story from there. You've got the 5 projects in the basin. You started drilling. You're in the midst of the biggest drilling program ever. Now, specifically, you started at Sundog.
Yep.
You say this is a unique project in part because you've got this radioactive outcropping. So get us up to speed on what you're doing.
Well, great. Thanks for summarizing that. Yeah, we do have 5 projects this year that we're going to be working on. 4 of them probably getting drilled, and we are starting in the far north with our Sundog project, which we kicked off about a week ago. Sean's going to give us some more details on that and how it's going and why it is so unique, and the fact that we do have high-grade off-scale radioactivity on some outcrop up there, which is pretty cool. You don't see that anywhere else in the basin, so I'll let Sean pick up on that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there. It's being able to see the uranium mineralization, the alteration that's associated with it, and the structures that control it right at surface really helps us get a grasp on the geology and plan our drill programs to follow up on what we can see at surface. So not only that, but there is historic mineralization in some drill holes on the project. So we do have mineralization in the sandstone right at the unconformity, which you can actually see at surface as well, and in the basement rocks. So it's got everything going for it, and we're drilling it right now, so it's exciting.
Yeah, so you've got that historical data.
Yep.
You've got your 22 drilling results as well, and you also have what you call a modern understanding of these kinds of systems, and that speaks in large part to your experience at the Arrow deposit with NextGen, where you did your master's.
Yep.
So can you explain, sort of elaborate on piecing all that data together in terms of defining targets for this year?
Yeah, sounds good. Back in the day, in this area specifically up by Uranium City, they were mining lower grade, smaller, what we call beaver lodge style deposits that are all hosted in the basement rocks. So the Gunner mine is actually on the project, which is a past producing mine that's being remediated now. So with the modern understanding thing, a lot of exploration in the Athabasca Basin back in the day, in the early days of uranium exploration in the province, was focused on the sandstone and at the unconformity specifically, but not really looking deeper into the basement rocks. So Arrow's a good example of that. It kind of changed our understanding of how these systems work, like you said. So the entirety of that world-class deposit is hosted within the basement rocks below the sandstone. So now we know to look deeper for those basement roots. We don't just stop the drilling when we tag the first bit of basement there. So we use that to link these things up to what could potentially lie beneath, and we're drilling deeper than previous companies would have before. And the information from the drill holes that we get, technology has come a long way in the last few decades. We use what's called oriented drill core, so we can gather all of this really cool geological information, plug that into a model. 3D software has come a long way too in the last few years. So that really helps us pinpoint where we want to drill.
Now, you've got 4 main target areas, and I'm sure, Sean, you could go on for an hour about all
could,
this.
yeah.
If you could give us the sort of the broad strokes overview.
Sure.
You've got 3 with historical data.
Yeah.
1, the Haven prospect you found through ground sampling in 2020. So what exactly are you looking for with the 4 areas?
Sounds great. I mean, the exploration thesis on all of our projects is essentially the same. Davidson River, we're focused on basement-hosted mineralization similar to Arrow. But on our eastern side, or eastern basin projects, and at Sundog, we're looking for everything. So like I said, there's that perched mineralization that sits up in the sandstone column, unconformity mineralization at that contact, and then also basement-hosted mineralization as well. So we're looking for all 3 at Sundog and our eastern basin projects. So the target areas are essentially, some are basement-hosted in our Java target area, mostly basement. Haven is actually mineralization in the sandstone and the basement and at the unconformity, so that's a really cool target area there. So we're hoping that we can push a little road up and get some land targets there this winter. And then the Johnson Bay area is again just mostly looking at the unconformity and into the basement. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, on the deal front, Jon, like any CEO, you're having M&A discussions. You said last time you were bidding for some claims near Sundog near Davidson River. So any updates on the deal front? Or?
Yeah, I can tell you a few things.
Okay.
Number one, when you have a project in your portfolio, you've got 2 years to work it. And if you don't work it, you've got to drop it, and then someone else can claim it. So what happened was there was an opportunity a few weeks back. Some projects that other companies had, they dropped them, and there was a staking rush to try to get them, and we were very successful in getting almost all the ones we went for. So we've extended our Davidson River project, and we've extended our Sundog project, adding more claims to that. It's kind of fantastic for us because all the work you do on a project, you gain credit for that. And by having those contiguous, adding on, those projects don't even need to be worked for a while, but we plan on working them.
How many acres or hectares are we talking about?
Yeah.
I think we staked another 3,000 or 4,000 hectares onto the Davidson River project, so it's close to 31,000 hectares now, and then a smaller package for Sundog. But yeah, we got the extension, like Jon said, of some of those major trends that we've been following. So really excited to get up there and continue drilling.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, AI is the big talk of the world these days. You just have to look at
Yeah.
Google Trends, AI, ChatGPT, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you've got this arrangement with Gold Spot Discoveries whereby they're working with you and you're a geologist and looking at your data, looking at all the other data in the area, other projects, as you said, the public information available. So can you say already that this has been really invaluable in terms of defining targets, or do you need to see results before you can say, yeah, this is really working?
That's a great question. I mean, it's kind of a new thing, like you said. The Gold Spot Discoveries has had success working with other companies, gold companies, some base metal work and stuff like that in defining new resources that have been found. So that's great. We're actually the first uranium company that they've been working with. So it's really cool to try and apply that to the Athabasca Basin. So what I can say now is they've done the work on Davidson. We're applying it to Sundog as well and our eastern projects. What's come out of the work they've done at Davidson is really, really good looking. I'm really excited about it. And it's a cool thing that we can just add to our toolkit. So we obviously still do the geology work that we would normally do in our targeting based on what we think looks good, but this just adds that extra layer that we wouldn't have maybe thought of before. And so yeah, I'm really excited to go test those results at Davidson this summer, and so yeah, I guess to answer your question, we'll see if it pans out.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty interesting. They do their work completely independent of ours.
Yeah.
So when they came and presented the findings they had to us, and a lot of it matched up identically to what we had, plus a couple extra stuff, it was pretty good. It was reassuring to us that we thought we were right on the right track, which we are.
Yeah.
Now, you were on site a while ago, and I know one interesting thing that you guys do is kind of cool. You shoot these videos. You're all geared up. It looks cold as hell. And you put them out on social and your website and so on. So I'm just wondering, what's the thinking there? Is it strictly marketing? Is it educational? Are you trying to appeal to younger investors? Combination of all of that? Or,
It's a combination of all that, and I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I think we're one of the companies that's been sort of pioneering that, going out and shooting videos and taking our investors right to site, actually showing them where their money is spent and educating them on what's going on. A lot of people have never seen what happens in a drill program, what happens at an exploration site, what goes on in the core shack. So we're educating them, telling them what's going on, and we also lay a roadmap up to where we're going, and we video it all so they can see that we hit every single milestone as we're going. Now, we haven't made that exploration discovery yet, but it's coming. It's a matter of time. We're doing the work and vectoring in. I'll also say, we thought, the younger generation would love to see these videos, but we found everyone loves them. It's interesting. We had a discussion last night at one of the events with a senior manager from Orano, one of the second largest uranium company in the world. And he said, I watch all your videos. So it's not just the retail investor, the younger crowd. People are always watching it, and we always get great feedback. So that's something we're pretty proud of.
I think it makes sense because, if you're just looking at maps or just thinking of it abstractly and you're not actually on site, it really does sort of take you there. And again, you don't dumb it down, but you make it very understandable for those who may not understand the process.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something else. We do it all in-house, and the cost to get those videos done is a fraction of what we get pitched by video companies all the time. So that's a great thing to do.
Yeah. With the exception of Red Cloud.
Of course.
Yeah. All right, so lastly, and you've alluded to this before, you could hit a hole tomorrow. It may take a while, but that's just the process. But would you say that your shareholders and just investors in general who are following the story, they're pretty engaged and excited that something's going to happen here at some point.
Yeah, we get a lot of feedback, not only from the analysts that follow us, but from investors and from just general public. You know, they watch what we're doing, they see we're getting closer, they trust what our geologists are doing. We've got a very talented team of young geologists that got incredible experience in this region. Look, making a discovery is extremely difficult. You've got to follow the steps, you got to do your work, you got to put your time in, and you got to get a bit of lucky. So we're getting closer and closer. The feedback we're getting from the drill results is getting better and better. And when you start that drill program, we hear from a lot of people. They're excited. Can't wait to get going.
Thanks for the update, John.
You're welcome. Nice to be here.
And thanks
Pleasure.
for taking part, Sean.
Of
Appreciate it.
course, anytime.
All right, very good. Jon Bey, Sean Hillacre, Standard Uranium.